Welcome to Gaming NBS, Tabletop RPG Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brett. Welcome to the show. Welcome back, folks. Good to have you here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
So where are we at? We're like episode 107, man.
Yes.
Cool. Very good. Very good. Been doing this for a while. I think we got it down. Got her down to a science, as they say. Ooh.
We do. Just popped my water open.
Did you? Okay.
Did. Well, announcements. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get in there. So first up is Gamehole. Pre-reg closes on October 15th. Your badge prices are going to jump up $5 for on-site. So if you want to save yourself $5 and you're coming to Gamehole and you do not yet have your badge, get your ass over there, GameholeCon.com, and get your badge. Speaking of getting badges, over at evercon.org, our pre-reg is open. If you want to get in on that as well, you can get your badges, you can submit your events and so forth. And our good friend of the show, friend of mine from ages back, Kevin Lovecraft, and his son Austin will be helping us run some games on demand at EverCon this year. So that'll be pretty damn cool. Looking forward to that.
I haven't seen Austin around on the social medias. Where are you, Austin? Where are you, buddy?
He's out. He's probably finding out a way. He's probably pulling his hair out because you said one of us has said something. He's like, "God damn it, Brett!" He's probably silently cursing me somewhere. Oh, I gamed with Austin and Kevin yesterday actually for my Bad Magic game. We wrapped that up. That was a lot of fun. Both of them were there. We had a chance to kind of go through some of the games on demand plan of attack for EverCon this coming January. So should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet.
And bonus BS episodes for the GMs running under our banner at GameholeCon. Don't be afraid to go out there, download those bits, just small little blurbs. If there are any game masters out there who are running under our banner and have not yet recorded a blurb with Sean or for us and would like to do so, not required obviously, but if you want to do that, get a hold of Sean or I, and we'll get you going. We'll hook you up there.
Yeah. Hobbs like said, "Hey, you calling me out on the show? What's up with that?" No, Hobbs. You don't have to record one. It's
absolutely not.
It's not. It's just I jab, I poke fun because I love.
Yeah, that's what he says on the mic. You hear what he says otherwise, Hobbs. Whew.
Come on.
Guys, no, I'm kidding.
Bad with Hobbs.
Jokes aside, though, obviously you don't have to, don't need to, no big deal. Just it's a cool thing if you're in for it. Any announcements on your side, Sean? Got anything?
That's right.
Any announcements? Nothing?
No announcements, Brett. No.
Oh, all right. Let's go on to the next part then.
Oh, yeah. Random encounter or calling BS.
As the kids are saying these days.
I know. Oh, so yes. We have a voicemail.
We have a voicemail.
From a prestigious listener.
I believe so.
Let's see if I can cue that up.
Lay it on me.
Sergeant Pemberfoot. The only veteran halfling I know called in.
Brett and Sean, this is Dungeon Master Pemberfoot calling in. I told you I wanted to call in. Your episode about magic items inspired me to let you guys know in a long ramble exactly how I do it. So detect magic will identify. Let's use a magic item first off as an example of what I'm talking about. Vorpal sword. Okay, so player characters will come upon a sword. It'll be a nice sword, fine craftsmanship. They might even see some odd language on it that they can't decipher. Okay, they have an inkling, it's magical. Well, detect magic will verify that, yes, indeed, it is magical. Now, after that, I may give a simple, yes, it's magical, yes, it's +3. But other than that, they won't know jack about it. Why I give the +3 is because, at the table, speeds up combat, makes everything smooth. They already know it's magical after that, so the cat's out of the bag. Now, if they want to know anything more about it, they'll have to cast Identify. Once player characters cast Identify, then they can go into the trigger words of a magic item, its history, who made it, who made that item could also lead to research and side quests of other items possibly. Hey, I love your show. I just wanted to give you guys a call and tell you how I do it at my table. But this is DM Pemberfoot signing off. Have a good night.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I I'll tell you, I was talking to the guys after my Bad Magic game, and even before that, excuse me, we were playing some Rollmaster on Friday night, and the different tweaks, the ways that people house rule a thing or whatever it is, I still believe that is a core part of our hobby. It's a really, really cool thing, and the flair and the way that a dungeon master or players and game masters attack different components and make it work at their table, that's just really cool. So, Mr. Pemberfoot, sir, I salute you. That is awesome. I like that idea. I like the way that works. It's not too invasive. It's not invasive to the game. It makes things roll pretty well. And as long as the crew is enjoying it, is doing what you guys wanted to, carry on, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we used to kind of do something similar where it was, especially if it's got the modifier to it, you got to give it to the player so you're not sitting there. Otherwise, you have to futz with that. So, what did you roll? A 10, 13. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I hit on 10. Somebody else doesn't hit on 10. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, there's other ways to do the bookkeeping, but if it totally, I get where Pemberfoot's coming from. It's sometimes just a lot faster to throw that out there just to keep things rolling. And if it doesn't wreck anything, there's still magic. There's still some weirdness about it. You got strange languages on the blade. That's some cool stuff. I like it. You get to read the first one.
All right. Goblin's Henchman emails us. Yeah. Goblin's Henchman.
I like it.
First up, thanks for the podcast. It's got me through some late night decorating sessions. I've been listening since about episode 90.
Pretty cool.
Just finished listening to last episode about magic items, episode 106. I agree with the general sentiment that players need to work to find out what an item does. To cut a long story short, I eventually used a secret system. Maybe we shouldn't divulge this.
No. No one's gonna. This is the Goblin.
Oh yeah, none of his players.
None of his players know this. They're fine.
I eventually used the secret system to keep track of magic plus weapons. I'd give weapons a name, maybe engraved on the blade, so the players could find it. The first letter of the name equated to the weapon's plus.
Oh.
For example, +1 equals name starts with an O. +2, name starts with a T. +3, name starts with an H. 4 with an F. 5, in the likely event, name would start.
Unlikely event.
Unlikely event. Yes, thank you. Name would start with an I. The Blade of Thune is nearly a +2 sword.
It's got to be. It says Thune right on it, so therefore it's a +2 sword.
Clearly, a code word like sword could be used instead.
Very true.
PSBS. PSBS. Hey!
I like it. There we go.
I'm going to have a go at poking a whole new James C. rule lawyering in episode 102. Okay, he's going to poke a hole at Mr. Was it Carruthers might have.
I think so, yeah.
Might have wrote it. He was going to poke a hole in that. I don't know.
Well, let's see what happens here.
So he says, to paraphrase, James C. said, DMs really should pull their finger out, stop play, and look up rules when they don't know a rule. He made some valuable points about how this could be done without slowing play.
Correct, he did.
Yes, he did. But to me, rules are just a mechanic to enable gameplay. RPGs are not chess. Some rules are core and some are not. Don't spoil the mood or moment by making up a rule if an effective ruling would suffice, especially if it is a non-core rule.
That's good. I'm a big proponent of the core rule. Is if the core rule can't get you out of 90% of your jams, it's a shitty core rule. The core mechanic should be able to get you out of most jams.
All right. But to me, rules are just a mechanic. I mentioned that. I'll admit James had me on the back foot with his spell example, but I think I've untied his logic not. DMs like Brett can make a ruling on non-core rules like grappling as they have some feel for what this might entail. However, a DM can't really make a ruling on a spell like Time Stop or whatever the example was because there is no point of reference to generalize from. Time to crack the book open. If you trust the player, get them to do it. Brett, back yourself. Your instincts seem good to me. Goblin's Henchman.
So the Henchman has an interesting point. That's another way to look at it, right? So the Time Stop piece, yeah, I don't have a decent point of reference. as for how that works.
Yeah, that kind of screeches everything, right?
Yeah, I don't know the spell. I'm like, oh shit, how does it really function? Where combat is grappling is combat-esque enough that I could screw about and use a gut feeling or something along those lines. But yeah, no, that makes sense. There's something to be said about that when the rule or the thing you're trying to do is either so outside the core rule mechanic, or it's hard to extrapolate or generalize from. There's something crazy like time stop or wish. You're like, okay, what exactly does that do? That sounds like a huge game changer here, folks. What do we do with this? And needing to get the details. So that's good. Yeah. That's a good approach too. Thank you, Mr. Henchman.
Thanks for writing in.
Absolutely.
First time writer, I think.
Yeah. And
thanks going by that name.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening to the show. I appreciate you sticking with us since 90. That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
And then we have Forrest Gary writing in on Google Plus, talking again about the last episode here. I really enjoyed this episode. One thought occurred to me, however, was that one could create a table similar to that in Gamma World First Edition or Mutant Crawl Classic, but for magic items. Excuse me. Determine the level of complexity for the item. Give mages and those with arcane knowledge skill and those who have had previous exposure to related magics a bonus to the roll, and cast the die and see what happens. If they fail to identify it the first time, give them another chance later and suitable time delay here. Excuse me. With another bonus, since they have already tried to familiarize themselves with the item. Always include a chance for catastrophic failure because that crap is just funny. Forrest does a good point. There it is. In one of the Mutant Crawl Classic games I ran, one of the PCs picked up an alien laser rifle and tried to figure out how it operated. Unfortunately, she rolled a natural 1 on her D20 check, resulting in the gun firing in a random direction before falling to pieces. That was the random check that incinerated a certain character named Bretsky. Oh, I heard about Bretsky.
Oh, yeah, Bretsky.
Yeah. Wayne told me about Bretsky.
So the young lady, that was Wayne's daughter.
That was Mr. Complete's daughter, yes. A good time was had by all, except Bretsky, because he died horribly. Anyway, I'm confident that enterprising GMs can come up with something similar for whatever system. Yes, there's the chance of horrible failure, but more likely, the character will just have to spend time trying to figure out how the item works. If they succeed marvelously, give them the information about the item's creation history, as well as letting them know how it works, how many charges it has left, etc. If they succeed somewhere in the middle, give them enough knowledge to not accidentally blast Bretsky with the wand of fireballs or whatever, let them figure out the intricacies over time. I should note that the table I'm talking about in Gamma World and Mutant Crawl Classics is the artifact check table for post-apocalyptic characters trying to figure out ancient pre-collapse technology. Forrest, that is really cool. I'll tell you, there's one of the cool things that DCC does and the OSR has is the tables, the charts, and so forth. DCC, we talked about that when we had Jen Brinkman on the show a while back, which is a great 2-episode, by the by. If you want to get in on that, go back, listen to it. It's cool. Anyway, the idea of having, if you don't know what to do, sometimes having a chart to roll on, like, look, I could really use a random encounter. We talked about this in another episode about random encounters and so forth. Even if you don't use the dice, even if you want to fudge the dice or pick something off a chart, having something prepped, having something in front of you that says, this is what could happen if somebody dicks around with this magic item. They're fucking about, and lo and behold, they determine X. You can have them roll a die. You could pick a thing, or whatever. But having this type of a chart there is a great way to get the old game master brain flowing. So it doesn't let you get caught flat-footed, I guess is what I'm saying. I like the charts. They're fun. That's a good idea.
Indeed.
Sean, over to you, sir.
So Matt Bonhoff, I don't know if we want to cover this right now, but he, in reference to the magic item topic we had last episode, I think the idea of a system agnostic mini game for identifying magic items or other world building based on competitive legend telling is solid gold.
I'll say that is Sean's idea. So apparently the Sean train was carrying gold. Well done, Mr. Kelly.
Every once in a while.
Yes.
Very, very seldom.
Blind squirrels finding whatever they're finding. There we go.
There you go. Anyone want to expand on how it would work? So I'll have a link in the show notes. There's people that are commenting on Matt's inquiry.
Yeah, Tim brought up like the Baron Munchausen thing directly from your example of like, hey, do it kind of Munchausen-esque. And he's like, hey, there's a game. and
Yes.
he gave some ideas. So it's a cool little back and forth out there. And if you have some ideas or don't like something, or you use something similar, hell, get out there and comment away. I think it'd be cool to see what people are doing.
Yeah. So if you did not listen to the last episode, basically what we were doing, we're talking about magic items and how do we run magic items? How do we allow people to detect the properties of a magic item, et cetera, identify the properties, et cetera, right? And I came up with everybody sits around and grabs the item and talks about it and does a Baron Munchausen game about it. And if you're not familiar with Baron Munchausen, you make up tales, and then the person can, interject and say, that's not the way I heard it.
It's a tall tale competition thing.
Yes. And so that was what he's referring to, that we came up with, that it would be pretty cool for people to kind of say, I've seen this before, and they go into a tale, and then whoever has the best one, maybe it's collaborative.
Correct.
Or the GM comes up with it and says, yeah, actually, Brett, that is exactly it. You knew that, and you tout that, and that's actually correct. I don't know how you played in the game, but
neither do I.
Yeah, that's
You
good.
know what? I had a long one. You had a short one. So you got to read this next one. We're going to give you Mr. Nagy's. You got Ed's.
All right. So Ed writes an email regarding magic items. One of the great things about listening to the chaos that is gaming and BS is that it pushes my brain to organize and categorize.
If you really want to understand what the hell we're doing, you've pretty much got to parse us out and put us in some kind of bucket or buckets.
Yeah, the only thing that we don't do is talk backwards randomly.
That's true.
Right, like Twin Peaks.
Yes, that's true.
So
yeah, we're not doing that.
I guess we got that going for us.
We do indeed.
During the most recent episode on magic items, I started putting together a framework which might even be applicable more broadly. I'll stay focused. Why are magic items showing up? That question alone is good.
No, it is. That's kind of the, why do I have this mechanic? Why is this thing even here? What the hell is it supposed to fucking do in my game? Why?
So he's got a few bullets here. First one, to reward the players after their PCs have been through some downbeats. This is about keeping the emotional roller coaster going. In this case, I would probably tell the players what the items do with minimal fuss, so the reward remains a reward.
Fair
enough. Number 2, to help the PCs overcome some specific obstacle, finding the boots of quietude.
Quietude.
Not quietude. I would name it quietude.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'm trying to be.
All right.
I'm hunting rabbit. Be very, very quiet.
Okay. All right. You got a little more fun going there. All right.
Finding the boots of quietude allows the wearer to stay calm amidst the sirens while trying to unlock the trap door. In this case, it doesn't do any good for the PCs to have to head back to town to visit the great library of knowledge, but it probably does make sense for them to have to expend some minor resource or at least make some rolls. These items may be single-use items. This is the reason items are often in a one-shot and is why it seems that all dragons keep an arrow of dragon slaying 2 or 3 rooms away from them in their lairs. Weird, that.
Indeed it is.
Right. Well, yeah. Yes, you got to keep it. Yeah, why not just put it right under you?
Yeah. Well, it gets you for a roll over it. It just kills you.
But yeah, that's a good point, Brett.
It is. It's a very good point.
Next one, to generally increase the power level of the PCs in order to allow them to tackle new storylines. Similar to the last, but over a longer time scale and less specific, these could be healing potions, magic weapons, or general useful bits and baubles. Unless they are common items, I would definitely want to force some shenanigans to identify them and hopefully to make the items stand out a little so that they don't get lost in the fine print of the character sheet. This one also appears in one shot since there is no time to level up.
Okay.
All right.
I like it.
All right. Another reason why magic items show up. To demonstrate the mood of the world. This is where Money Hall,
yes,
comes in. I am currently a player in a game that reminds me of when we were 12 and having a blast. At 3rd level, we've chatted with at least 2 gods had multiple artifacts pass through our hands and are headed off to kill an ancient dragon. Crazy shit.
Yes, it is.
His words, not mine. I'm too much of a jerk to ever run a game where my players have so much fun, but I'm enjoying the heck out of it. In this case, there are tons of easy ways to figure out what the items do, from talking to them, to noticing the engravings on them, to rolling well on Arcana. Similarly, one could set the mood of history by introducing the Prince of Thune's sword, or intergalactic intrigue as blasters appear, or whatever.
There you go.
And the last one he has, the last reason why you have magic items, as a story hook. Go to the damn library and meet old Shifty, the one-eyed librarian, because it's going to be cool. Then travel on her quest to the mountains of inanity and kill the ogres of obvious ignorance, so that you can retrieve the key that opens the box that, finally at the end of the arc, the party has destroyed some crazy magic item, and they move on to the next big story. Choo-choo!
Yeah, the train. There we are.
Yeah. Whoops, wrong train.
That's all right.
One of my few gripes with 5e and other well thought out and cohesive rules is that it is difficult to hand wave why sometimes detect magic or identify work, and sometimes they don't. I miss the uncertainty and cost of 1E identify. I like to be able to choose when to give out the powers and when to hold them. Sometimes it's about the journey. Sometimes about having a new +1 shiny. Wow, long email. His words. Cheers, Edwin.
Well, I'll tell you, Edwin, I like this. This is kind of this is interesting because he did a thing that probably Sean and I, had we the wherewithal to be more organized, we would have done just such a deal here. I mean, if you take a look at the magic item reasons that he has here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really good reasons. If you say, if you kind of go back to the show and I say like, well, you know, sometimes you just want to give them the data. Sometimes you just want to do that. If I take it, analyze it further and say, why would I want to do that? You know what? It's just a reward. It's just a raw, simple reward. They went and killed 16 ogres on the way to rescue the Prince of Thune, so therefore they picked up a sword. Great. If it is to overcome a specific obstacle, yeah, you might want to just, find a way to have them figure that out as they're there. If it is something that could linger or last longer, or perhaps as part of a larger quest or a story hook, as he says, yeah, maybe it takes them longer to go to the Great Library, talk to the one-eyed librarian, or whatever you may happen to have them do. So I like that. That's a really cool breakdown, and I think those are the questions that oftentimes game masters and players, what you're thinking about them, but not necessarily that succinctly. You know, I'll say, well, I'm just going to give you this. Why? Because it's not a big deal. Why isn't it a big deal? Well, it's not, because it's just a reward. So, but oftentimes in the heat of play, it's not easy to kind of bottle the lightning and say exactly why you're doing it, what it is that you're doing, other than years of experience have told me at this moment I simply give them the thing. Why am I doing that? I don't know. Years of experience simply says to do. But if you digest it, tear it apart, I bet you a lot of my reasoning could be breaking into one of these five line items here. We might have to hire Mr. Ed to just do our outline for us, because he's better to organize than we are at this.
Yeah, it's on top of it.
Very on top of it. Good stuff, man. Thank you, sir. Hey, and
right.
thank you to everybody who wrote in and called in. That was really good stuff.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into the oh man, I don't think I have the main topic set up.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Sean had
God.
a technical snafu earlier. He gets on the mics. He's like, God damn. I say, what? He goes, I can't get my fucking soundboard. I'm like, oh, well, that's no good, dude.
Yeah, so I updated iOS, and then I go to the app that we use for the sound effects, and they're all gone. And so I had to load them up before the show, and that was one that got missed. But anyways,
Fanfare.
there we go. We should do like Misdirected Mark, man.
Yeah.
Acoustic style. Go ahead, Brett. You did it.
Okay, there we are. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Hey, topic of discussion. Brett, what are we talking about this week?
I want to talk about evil parties or evil games. We've talked about this a bit before, and Phil and Chris and Sunda and Emily touch on this. Well, not just touch on it, but Sunda and Emily, if you listen to the latest edition of She's a Super Geek, where Sunda ran, I got a chance to participate in a game with them.
Hey, I gotta say something, because
Yeah.
my name was mentioned in that episode.
Yeah.
What was Phil talking about? Dressing me up like a deer? What
Yeah,
is
he was saying that, is there a level on the Patreon backer where I could shoot Sean with an arrow? Is there a level I could back to get it to that? And he was saying like a blunt or some way to make it not hurt too badly. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Can we get Kelly to dress up like a deer and then shoot him with an arrow? Hey, that's funny, Vecchione.
Well, if you were there, it was hilarious. So that early in the morning with not enough coffee. But there is one of the pieces that, apart from the safety issue that we got into there, and I don't want to steal it, we can maybe talk about that another show, but if you listen to it, it's a really good kind of a case study, if you will, as to when there's a safety breakdown at the table, X card failure to use, and so forth. Misdirected Mark did a really good job covering it post in their QCC wrap-up episode a couple back, so I would strongly suggest you listen to that. Anyhow, Sean, there's a couple different ways to kind of look at an evil game. When someone says, hey, I want to play a game where we're all evil, or I want to play a game where we're evil, or some variation on that theme. What, Sean, what does that do? What do you think? Do you always think, oh, great, we're all chaotic evil? What is that?
That's every game I ever GM with D&D.
Is it?
The party's always evil. They go out the woods. They kill innocent animals and beasts. They go into their houses. They take their shit. Like, what the hell?
Bunch of amoral crackpot bastards. That's what they are.
They're murder
hobos.
There you go.
Even the paladins. God damn it.
But if you really want to get on the evil train,
I do.
Then yes. Have I run an evil campaign?
Well, tell you what. Let's do a Vecchione here and step back for a second. So, an evil campaign. There's a couple different ways, I think, to really talk about what an evil game is.
It's all relative.
It is essentially very relative. If you have a game where alignment is a very strong thing, 5e D&D not quite so much, but
you were a philosophy major, weren't you, Brett?
Oh, yes.
Alignment must drive you absolutely bonkers.
Oh, it totally does. It absolutely drives me fucking bonkers. But if you say, well, we're all going to play chaotic evil, or we're all going to play lawful evil, or neutral evil, or all that type of thing, there's a stigma, or there's pieces and parts that go with it. And then there's a game we play like Vampire. You're an evil thing. You basically, attack people and drink their blood and either kill them for it or leave them dazed and confused in an alleyway or something, wondering what the hell happened, and they have this drained hangover type feeling. So it's kind of a horrible. You're doing bad things. If you play a game like Cartel, you're cartel members. You are murdering people. If you're playing a game where you're gangsters doing illegal things, that is seen by many to be evil. You're involved in prostitution, involved in gambling, you're involved in leg breaking. You're playing an assassin in a D&D game. Well, most people would say, someone who just kills people for money is probably not a very nice person. So I think there's levels and variations of evil. And in my head, when people say, oh boy, that'll be a lot of fun, my first thought in my head is like, I don't want to game with you people, because they're just looking for an excuse to do obscenely weird, strange things. This is what happened to me anyway in the D&D world, where we're all going to play evil characters. Great. You want to, in high school, you want to, murder, rape, pillage, torture, do stuff without the game master or the paladin in the party saying, no, you can't torture the goblins. You just want to fucking slaughter stuff. You want to not have to worry about moral repercussions. Okay. Maybe that was fun in high school or something for a while, but even then, that was never that's not very, there's no heroics to it. There's nothing really interesting to me. That is so base, a variation of it. The only reason that Vampire was interesting to me was because there was some component of humanity to it. You were still tied to a thing, and you were challenged if you did something. If you tried to do something that was very evil or depraved or bad, you had issues. You could lose humanity points or whatever the case could be. So, Sean, does that change your thought or opinion or anything? Or do you have anything you want to add to that? Did I go too crazy?
No, I think that wraps it up, buddy. Let's get into die roll.
Nice.
Everybody's probably like, finally, they got to the point and it's finished.
Finally, that's done.
It's like
so
exactly what they should have talked about.
Have you run or played in an evil game before like that?
I can't. I know I have. Literally an evil game or evil campaign. maybe comes up once every 10 years, if that. I mean, I was much younger. It would have been during my first stint. When I got back into it in, I don't know, 2000 or whatever it was, I don't think I've played an evil campaign. Now, the Edge of the Empire is kind of on the cusp. I don't think you guys were evil necessarily, but there's definitely a selfish.
Well, we were rogues, and
rogues,
you know,
right.
we
Scoundrels.
We cheated people. We stole stuff. We specifically went out to steal stuff.
Right.
Do breaking and entering. But we did have the villains with a heart of gold thing, is that we didn't just murder people all the time for the sake of murdering.
Well, I think there's a difference between, let's put it this way, chaotic evil does not work.
I agree.
Like as a group, if somebody were like, let's make a chaotic evil party, it's like, how are you going to prevent yourselves from killing each other?
All right, chaos ensues. At the first opportunity, everybody murders everybody else. Okay, moving on.
Right, or maybe, you all fight each other. Maybe nobody dies, but you come to your senses and say, oh, okay, all right, okay, I give up, uncle.
Yeah.
Right, until the next time it happens.
I know that somebody out there has run an evil D&D campaign with great success. I know they're out there somewhere. Somebody's going to tell us, or out there listening. They may not tell us directly, but they'll be like, I've done that before. What the fuck is Brett's problem? And some of this is just raw personal choice, but if you're bad people doing bad things, right? So we're playing Knights Black Agents, let's say, and I'm an ex-Wetworks guy. I used to murder people. I was an assassin and so forth. And now suddenly I'm thrust into this world where I am badass fucker Jason Bourne, but now I'm fighting vampires. I'm now fighting something evil and wicked that's even worse than what I was. I'm like, this thing has to go. You're still a bad person, and you're tough, and you might beat up a cop, or you might do something, and so on, but you feel like you have this greater goal or a good or something that's that's kind of driving you. I think that being a bad person that does bad things, even in a game like Amber, where you can be an amoral god that does whatever you want, but there's still ramifications, there's still impact. The world at large, or that multiverse at large, will have a negative reaction if you do horrible things, and if you're like, well, I'm going to make a guy that's basically like Stalin. I'm going to go do this crazy ass thing, do horrible, evil things. At some point, there's, the world revolts against that. And I don't find them to be a lot of fun for very long. There's like this weird satiated, a strange bloodlust, which I could have gotten by just, purging the hills of the goblins. I didn't necessarily have to be an evil party to satiate my desire to, murder things and take their stuff. Like you said at the beginning, every game is kind of evil in a way. But do you like them? Does that idea even sing to you? Like, hey, I want to do evil stuff. I want to be an evil person.
No, because it doesn't ring true to myself, Brett.
Wow, you're a terrible liar.
I don't have an alter ego waiting to be evil.
Yes, you do.
Well, I mean, I want to punch people in the face, but I don't know if that's being evil.
No,
that's just maybe lack of control.
That's just having to be a recruiter and having to deal with management. That's just regular.
It's kind of corporate America for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I do see what you're saying, where you can do different things in a game, and if you're evil, then there's the motivations may change. I think you can run a morally questionable.
Yes.
Right.
I think that the cool part there is that I think
people will ultimately think you're evil.
Yes.
Because of what you're doing.
Yes.
Right.
And that's where the concept of the hard choice comes in, right? A dungeon world component and things that you've done to us in like the Star Wars game, or I try to do in other games I run, like, do you want to do this thing or not? You're like, oh, I think this is the right thing to do. It's morally questionable to anybody. If anybody finds out I killed this woman, I could be in a bad way, but I think I'm 90% positive she's the cause of this greater evil, so I'm going to murder her. And I'm pretty sure I'm right, but no one will ever believe me. Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Those hard choices, moral ambiguity, or that type of thing makes for a more interesting story or concept of what evil may or may not be, or how people could react to you, than just saying, well, I'm evil, therefore I get to murder and pillage and do horrible things and torture people.
Yeah,
It's a base juvenile thing.
They use it as an out.
Yes.
I mean, that's how people play neutral. Like, I'm neutral. Like, and then they get I can kind of cross that line whenever I want because I'm chaotic neutral. And it's like, sure.
Sure,
okay.
You're just being a dick.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the having characters that are and part of this comes down to if you're if the characters are one-dimensional or the setting is one-dimensional, where it's like, look, we're all clerics of Tharizdun, we're all clerics of Orcus, we're all, that type of thing. Wow, or we're all drow living in a Menzoberranzan, we're all living in this nasty underground city. You can do that. I mean, there's a hierarchy around that. The drow are evil. There's nasty things that go on. I think you could play it successfully in that environment. And from a safety perspective, you don't necessarily have to get into graphic descriptions of evil. All right, we're going to take this. We've talked about this before. Okay, that will be that person. They're going to go to the torture chamber, hopefully get some answers, roll a few dice, see what comes of it. Or we'll go do this thing. We have to sacrifice this deep gnome to get something from Loth, or we have to do this other thing to summon a demon. You can kind of hand wave some of that evil, so it's not like this depravity celebration. But I think other than that, I don't know. When I think nowadays, when I think about, hey, we're going to play a game, I don't think, well, is it an evil campaign? Is it a good campaign? I'm much more into what kind of character are you? I'm a badass motherfucker, an assassin, dude, and she's just brutal, and she just, she killed her own father when she was young, and you can make this dark, nasty-ass character. Like, wow, she sounds terribly evil and just cold-hearted. Absolutely, yeah. Who wouldn't she kill? What? Will she kill anybody? Seriously? She has no qualms? Babies? Oh, no, no children. Okay. And you take that character, you poke it a little bit, and then you find a thing that they won't go past. Then you give them a hard choice. You give them something to challenge their worldview. I think is more interesting than just saying, well, you're evil, so yeah, you slaughter all the babies, you kill all the nuns, you nail the door shut and burn everyone alive. That's just what you do. I don't know. That just doesn't sing to me anymore. And I see it periodically online. Somebody anymore. Back in the day when I was a horrible evil person. Last week.
Brett turned to the light side, and now he's been saved.
Now I've been saved. Yeah, that's what it is. I periodically will see online where people will talk about this, or I'll be at game stores and people talk about this evil campaign they ran. And usually, traditionally, it's D&D. Oh, we're all chaotic evil. It was so much fun. I'm like, how the hell is that fun? I don't quite get it. It just doesn't do much for me. I think you can have fun if you structure it in a very specific way. Like I said, like the drow idea, but
yeah, I think if you take it from a drama perspective. So if you were to take a Game of Thrones kind of situation,
that's a good example.
Gamify it, right? Who would you say is evil in that series, right?
Everybody.
Well, some maybe, Joffrey. King Joffrey was kind of, is he evil or just a major asshole?
Was he less evil than somebody else, or was he evil in a new and interesting way? Sons of Anarchy. You end up rooting for these guys. You're like, they murder people and cut their hands off. They do horrible things.
Right. And some of it is for their own personal gain.
Yes.
And therefore, maybe it's not being chaotic evil in the sense that you're like, I don't, murdering everything, blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's very calculated. There's a point to it, right, to further themselves somehow, or the group they represent, where it's not just going into a town and doing mass murder.
Yeah, so from a story perspective, like a game like Cartel, or if I was going to, do Game of Thrones or Sons of Anarchy, and I was going to say, we're going to be biker gang guys, and we're going to do this, and there's structure behind it. You're doing this because you're selling guns or drugs, or you're doing this thing. Okay. You can have the lead character in Sons of Anarchy. My wife was addicted to the show, so I've seen a few of them back when it was on. Jax, the main character, has a son. He was married for a while. There's this weird relationship thing. There's these story beats that go with it. It's very drama system-y type of thing, trying to get different things and and solve personal drama and greed while you're stuck within this world or this life. Then a game that you would say is evil, like these are really bad people that do bad things all day long. You don't have to get overly graphic, like I say, with the descriptions, but then it becomes a type of story you're going to tell. It becomes the Breaking Bad story. You know, you can't tell me Walter was a really nice guy.
He started out that way.
Oh, he started out that way, yeah. But Walter didn't turn out really nice.
But he was personally furthering his spiel, right? His story. He was everything he did.
He had a reason.
For him. Well, it starts out as kind of like this. You know, I wouldn't say altruistic, but he's trying. Well, I'm not.
I'm teasing.
He's trying to provide for his family.
Yeah.
And then it goes not off the rails, but it goes down an avenue that, hey, quit eating my mixer, cat. It goes a certain way that portrays him in a very poor light. But again, I think it goes to, I think you can be evil, but it's very calculated. There's a very directed purpose.
Because even in those types of stories, the people that are what could be seen as an agent of chaos or just this crazy, out of control individual be like, what is she doing? Oh my God, she's insane.
Right.
Even the other people that are bad biker bastards that would, kill you, cut your tongue out, and leave it there for the cops to find some weird message or something. They still look at this other crazy person who does it for quote unquote no reason as too much. That's just insane, and they don't even like that. That's too far. I think I was kind of wanting to talk about this because I was curious. I know that when I run Vampire, or even when I did the Bad Magic game, and even in the Trail of Cthulhu game, you guys have had to make some choices like, what do I do here? At one point in the last session, you guys had some crazy-ass cultist people, like, unconscious and tied up, and the mobster was like, maybe we should just kill them. And the rest of the group's like, wait a minute. It's one thing to knock these guys out and try to do different things and maybe pull a fire alarm or do something crazy, but not murder, not yet. And having that type of hard choice, it's what you guys are doing is illegal. You're breaking and entering. You're utilizing medical information and technology and all this stuff illicitly. So could be seen by some people as evil, but you're doing it for a reason. You've got a good. You're trying to find out what this horrible thing is that's happening. And in a game like a Sons of Anarchy or a Game of Thrones, you're stuck in a world like a cartel. You're stuck in a world where this is how you operate. Maybe your character's goal is to get out of said world, but you're going to have to live and survive in there. You're going to have to do things that are morally questionable. And that is, to me, an interesting story versus I'm just in here to be juvenile, use the phrase rape and pillage, right? If that's the whole reason you're doing, then that's not an evil character story I'm at all interested in. That doesn't interest me at all. Right. I think that type of thing has no place at the table.
No, I'm with you. Like Streets of Bedlam is the Sin City, right?
Oh, there you go. That's another good example. Yeah.
All moral ambiguity or questionable morality comes into play. And when that happens, then it's relative. Yes. Then it's also, perspective comes into play. So you get characters that, or even NPCs that seem to be evil or they do good things. Maybe it's like the vigilante, right? Goes around murdering people, but they're bad people, so it's okay.
Yeah, Batman breaks the bad guy's spine. You're like, you paralyzed this kid for life. He's 20. He's paralyzed for life. Well, that's what happened, says Batman.
Somebody could say he's evil. You put a bar down in the corner and start preaching about how the party's evil, and maybe you can sway a few people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think it's not... I didn't want to turn this into like an alignment episode, so I don't think that's it. I think the piece here is the type of story that's of interest, or the type, whatever happens, like I say, the truth is at the table. So whatever you're telling that's going on at the game is, if the type of thing that is just some weird, juvenile, chaotic, hey, we're chaotic evil, therefore I get to torture goblins. that's really fucking stupid and boring, and I'm not into that. That's nothing to do with anything I'd be interested in. But if you told me, hey, we're gonna play Streets of Bedlam, Brett, wow, okay. There's gonna be some moral ambiguity. We've got some lines and veils. We're not gonna, get overly graphic with some of the evil. We might say a thing happens, or hey, I don't like this descriptor or whatever. Fine, we can, we can do the X-Cardy stuff. We can talk about the safety pieces. Once that's all agreed upon, and then you're going through the story, then the characters are deeper than just, I'm here for chaos. I'm here to do. There's more than, they're not just one-dimensional, I guess. The one-dimensional evil character is very boring, and it's a cutout, throwaway thug cultist that lives in mini Cthulhu episode or anything else like that. They're the mooks. And do you want your character to be a fucking mook? I don't think so. I sure don't want my character to be a mook, So, I mean, when I played Night's Black Agent with Sneezak at QCC, Angela Murray and I are sitting there together, and our characters know each other pretty well, and we've done bad things. We've done some bad stuff, and neither one of us are mooks, man. That's not. We've got deeper meetings and stuff back and forth, and we're working with Nikki and the rest of the team, and Tom and those folks, and we're bad people that do bad things, but we weren't mooks. We weren't just one-dimensional, and that, I think, takes a game, an evil party or a morally questionable party, and adding the depth to it makes it much more interesting.
I agree. Totally agree, man. And it's like the Joker. He's a crazy, insane psychopath, but he's still calculating and rational to further his own gain, which now his is a little bit more on the kind of more evil side of things.
Slightly more evil, yeah.
Right. He's directing things, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a real evil motherfucker. Yeah. He's pretty bad. Okay. Right. We don't have to beat the horse per se, as we are wont to do, but I'm very interested to see what other people think. I mean, there are folks who are like, I don't want to play, I don't not want to play Vampire anymore because I don't want to run games with evil people doing evil things. I don't want to run Vampire anymore because I did it for too goddamn long, and I don't care about vampires anymore. I know there are people though who will not play a game that's not heroic or obviously good versus evil. Some people enjoy that type of thing. But I'm curious as to what our listeners might think, how have they run evil games? Do they agree or disagree? Is there a decent way to run a chaotic evil game? I mean, do you have it so that you're all minions of Sauron and you're just doing a thing trying to survive, and you're just some poor Haradrim, that's been called up from the Southlands to lay siege against Gondor, and you're just trying to struggle through? Then it's kind of, again, that feels like a Sons of Anarchy type of story. I don't know. I'm kind of curious as to how other people are doing it. So write in, call in, let us know what you're doing.
Yeah, let us know if you've run an evil campaign or been a part of or been a player in an evil campaign.
Yep, and how you may define it. Maybe Sean and I did a real shit job, which is highly possible, of defining or trying to define, and maybe there's a better way to look at it.
All right, let's get into die roll. Die roll. 2 to 4 miscellaneous points of gaming and geekery you want to bring to your attention. Brett, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I've got 2. The first one I have is there's a strange, police are investigating a bizarre crime spree in East Kensington. So apparently there is surveillance videos show that there's a woman who's stealing, of all things, the number 0 from the address marker of a house. And apparently somebody has been stealing numbers from houses. There's literally almost no value in this type of thing. Like, so your house is 2200. Someone takes 10 off of that and then leaves. So immediately I see that and go, okay, that's cult activity. That's some weird, bizarre, city necromantic funkiness happening. There's some reason they're doing that. So again, the more you get into gaming, the more everything you read, like, oh, I can make a game out of that. So take a look at this. It's interesting, and like I say, if nothing else, it'll give you some plot ideas. The other one I had was a cyberpunk glossary. I can't remember where I saw this, but I had it bookmarked on the side as something to throw out there. So it is an A to Z of cyberpunk terminology. Everything from BD is a breakdown. Benny is an out-of-towner. bit jockeys or programmers. You look at let's see here, Gaijin for our gangbanger. They've got that one in there. New Yen, world standard of currency. It's just a lot of those cool things. And one of the pieces that I found over the years that can be difficult for me breaking into a new genre is that not knowing the lingo, you use the lingo inappropriately. And when you use the lingo inappropriately, you break the mood. You start a fit of giggles at your table or whatever. So this type of glossary could be pretty handy for somebody trying to pull a cyberpunk game off or anything with that type of feel. So thought I would share that. Sean, over to you, sir.
Yeah, that's a good one, Brad. I like that cyberpunk one.
Yeah.
Me, I've got archaeologists discover a Nazi time capsule in Poland.
Oh.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, who doesn't like punching Nazis in the face? So right here's a game.
There you go. And maybe the time capsule, maybe it unlocks secrets.
Perfectly preserved copies of Mein Kampf, newspapers, coins, photographs, training centers, founding. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome.
Second one. Hobbies make us happier, so ignore the mockery and enjoy. Posted this up on Google Plus. Might have put it on Facebook too. I can't recall, but it's basically saying, hey man, hobbies are good, so just do it. Like if it's something like I think there's a picture with a guy who's a model train enthusiast on the in the article.
Obviously, elderly gentleman in a sweater, playing with electric trains, and clearly he knows his like he's at a train expo. This dude knows his trains. I like this.
Yeah. So the next time somebody makes fun of you for playing D&D, go, hey, play fantasy football. That's kind of funny too.
Yeah, my wife was at I was out in New York. My wife went to a little family wedding, a very small event. So she went with the kids. And one of the people there looked at her and said, well, hey, where's your husband? And she said, well, he's at a gaming convention. What? A D&D thing. She explained it. And he goes, what a waste of time. And she said, do you watch football? And he kind of looked at her. She said, that's your hobby. That's his.
The guy's lucky you weren't there, Brett.
Yeah, I might have punched him in the throat. That might not have gone well for him. And I'm like, really? Really? That's first off, you just insulted me to my wife. That's not going to go well because I'll see him at the next family gathering. I got this guy's name and number. This won't go well for him. Regardless, though, it's one of
your wife escort you over. Go, hey, remember that guy I was telling you about?
Yeah,
this is him, right?
This is him. This is him. You short, fat, little dumpy shit. Anyway, I'm seriously though. It's one of those pieces where over the years we've talked about this on our 100th episode and so on. I like this stuff. I don't care who knows. I just don't care. I know some people don't like that, are a little nervous or perhaps ashamed of the geek flag, but fuck it. This is my hobby, man. It's what I do.
That's right. And then number 3, this is from Victor. I snaked it off him. I think he posted it to our community and his general stream on Google Plus. Trench Monkeys RPG podcast. I have not listened to this show, but I think I'm going to queue it up. It's for active duty military and military veteran gamers.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, there might be some a military bend. I'm sure it's if you're not active duty, you can listen to it too. But there may be some.
There's gonna be lingo that I'm gonna have to go.
Right.
I'm gonna have to email Sean and go, hey, what does this mean?
Yeah. What's 8 up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, we talked about this before with you in the military. There are a lot of men and women that I've met who are former military that have gamed. There's a lot of them. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna check that out. I don't know what the bend. I mean, obviously there's a bend, but I don't know how that plays a role in the grand scheme of things.
Well, cool. And last one we had is from listener Tim Shorts. He points us to the Dwarvenaut. It is it's a IMDb link in the show notes there. It's out there. It's a little documentary. Yeah, about the Stephen Portnoy about the D&D stuff, the dungeon, the Dwarven Forge stuff. It's really interesting. I've not read it. I've heard about it. I've not read it, seen it, heard about it. I've heard some good things. Some people said, this, that, or whatever. But hey, it's gamer, man. That's pretty cool.
Well, some of us know Stefan. I mean, he's been to Gary. I think he's been to Gary Con. I think he's coming to Gamehole Con. I mean, I think I know Alex knows him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, very approachable.
I think I was with you at Gary County. Like, hey, there's that guy, and he was busy, so I didn't have a chance to introduce myself. But pretty cool, pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I was surprised. It's on Netflix. I'm surprised it hit Netflix so soon because I think
Oh, thank you for saying that. That was a key piece. Is if you have Netflix, it's at least in the U.S. Netflix. So
yes, in the U.S. Netflix. We can't speak to the other.
I know Canada sometimes doesn't get all the same things that Netflix has here in the U.S. So my hope is that it's out there for every gamer to enjoy.
Indeed. Yeah, so check that out. I watched it, but it was really late at night and I fell asleep. Not due to the movie, just because I was queuing it up at like 1 a.m.
Because we're old and we sleep at 1 a.m. That's what we do.
So I'm gonna check it out again and rewatch it. But yep, good stuff. But I think that's it for Die Roll.
I think it is.
Yeah. So this episode of Gaming ABS brought to you by GameholeCon.com. November, we've got a gaming convention here in Madison. It's like the first weekend in November.
Mm-hmm.
Check out GameholeCon.com. Things are wrapping up as far as registration goes and everything. It's only, as this drops, it's almost
October. Yeah, it's almost October. We're like right on the cusp of this thing, which means Brett and Sean will be in a flurry of rulebook reading, catching up, and saying, "Oh my god, I have a game to prep." That's what's going to happen. I can tell you right now. I'm looking at Sean across the screen here. Yeah, we're both fuck.
I had time like today. I'm gonna do my pre-gens. I'm gonna sit down and knock those out. No. Do you think I do it? No.
I actually have most of my pre-gens done. I just got some other stuff to do.
I want to make it fancy. The problem is I want to be like.
You want to pull like a big fancy.
I want to do like Mr. Kiesler.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that he does that for he must knock those suckers out. He's pretty quick.
He's amazing. He and guys like between Kiesler and Randy Farmer, I'm like, I may aspire to such a thing at some point, but I also know my limitations.
Carl Kiesler on Google Plus.
Absolutely. And Randy Farmer.
Follow anybody, yeah. And Randy Farmer with the cardboard stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just, man. I need to just kind of do one event, multiple cons. Like this is it, and it started out with like.
Well, that was when I fought when I fought the Trask with the terrible Trask event. That John Arcadian ran at QCC. It comes in a box. He built a box for the terrible Trask event. He has the Trask miniature, everything's in it. He picks the box up, takes it to a con, lays it down. It's the same event all the time, and it's really, really cool. And it's portable, and it's right there. So yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. Anyway,
build upon it every time. I don't know
exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, but we thank Gamehole Con for sponsoring the show.
Absolutely.
Suppose we should get Alex on here again. Should we?
We absolutely should. Just one more time.
As a guest. Yeah, we'll get him on there. We'll get him on to talk about one of our topics.
There we go.
Yeah, we've done collecting with them. I think there was another one. Then there was
the interview. A couple times. Yep.
Yeah, he's been on here like 5 times. People know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fun though. We'll get him on.
Yeah. All right then. That's a wrap, man.
I was gonna say let's shut this fucker down and move on.
What are we talking about next week, Brett?
Next week we're gonna have episode 108. We're gonna talk about side quests. We had this. I pimped this in one of the last episodes. I think the last episode, 106, and kind of how we use side quests and all those good things. And Mr. Kevin Lovecraft graced me with 2 bottles of some wonderful whiskey from a small distillery he happened to be passing. So let's get out of here so I can crack into that.
That sounds good. So thank you for listening to the show. If you've told somebody about the show, thank you for doing that. If you haven't told somebody about the show and you think we're worth a damn, maybe just even a small amount.
Yes. Spread the word.
Let somebody know. We appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night. Good game and all.